Welcome to the H2H Human Connection Done Right Summit, bringing together forward-thinking leaders who understand that true innovation happens when people, process, and technology work in harmony. Lean into this refreshing, energizing experience designed to inspire you with a new approach to a timeless principle. Our speakers will offer fresh insights that will challenge perspectives and spark new ideas.
Hey there, party people. What's happening? My name is Kelsey Galarza, and my presentation is called How I Used AI to Build Killer Messaging Without Killing the Human Touch. And I want to talk about real messaging that you can use in sales, marketing, any kind of go-to-market, materials that you need to produce, even if you're writing a presentation like, say, this one. The thing is that unless you've been under a rock for the last couple of years, you've probably tried to use some form of AI to produce your content. And while it's gotten better, at the beginning, it was really, truly garbage. It's still really tough to make AI content that sounds like a person or that connects with another person. It's hard because the materials that the AIs were trained on, even while it is human generated, it's been sort of sanitized. So the reason that I feel like I have the qualifications to tell you a little bit about this is that not only was I a really early adopter, but I very quickly was able to take what I did as a human that I did for many, 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 many years before AI came to be, to create the kind of materials that like nails that persona. No offense if anybody takes it this way, but like God is talking to me. That's what I always say. Like, you've nailed the message if it feels like God is talking to me. So the idea is that it sounds like it solves the problem you were wanting to solve, that it uses the language you would expect to use, that it meets you where you are in terms of kind of tone and manner. And so oftentimes when people get started, they just type in something like, they type into their AI and they say, give me a sales email for, and it'll be, whatever their product is. Your AI cannot be the tool to do that for you. You're going to get garbage in, garbage out. And so we want to talk to you about how to use the regular real world tools that existed before AI existed, at least generative AI in the way we know it now. And use that as a tool to make you faster and more powerful at delivering, communications that really work. I knew I had gotten it right when I had a client who they told me they were having a meeting with a new branding agency the next day, and they didn't have anything to identify their ideal customer profile, their target persona, all of the people, they didn't have any messaging that fit who they wanted to create this brand for. So I followed the process that I'm going to show you right now. And I met with them for an hour. Key part, there's humans involved. Just be aware, this conference is called Human to Human, and there are humans involved in this process, and it's not just you. So I met with them for an hour. Then I followed this process, and they sent an email to the branding agency, and I will read it verbatim. In support of our meeting tomorrow, please find for your consumption below a link to Kelsey's excellent primer and boil down on our target market, differentiators, and market positioning based on meetings that we had with our team. Kelsey, your primer and boil down are excellent. Thanks for the great work and for getting it to us in advance of tomorrow's meeting so that their team can get quickly up to speed. Super job. Like, that sounds like my third grade teacher with the praise. Like, I was pretty excited about that because I knew that the process worked. So how do you do it? So the first thing is like, whether you're working on this messaging for your own company's prospective customers or a client's prospective customers or customers, the first place is to start with curiosity. Like, true, people always say, like, be curious, right? But like, be freaking curious, like Curious George. Like, why, who, what, how do they do that? Where do they get there? This is where you can use your AI partner to start. So you can start with, okay, I know that we go after, I'll use an example, third grade teachers. We're going to go after third grade teachers and we're going to sell them supplies or something. You would start your AI question with, what are some of top 10 questions that I could ask that would help me understand the goals, challenges, objectives, and hopes and dreams of third grade teachers? And your AI will come back with some questions. But that's when you have to actually talk to people. So your very next step is to schedule a whole bunch of meetings. I would say really, like, you really shouldn't do it with less than 3 to 5. Something like 10 is better. But then you should go and actually ask those questions to a dozen third grade teachers. And when you do it, you can't just ask the question and get the answer, right? Any kind of survey monkey can get you those answers. And they might even type them in verbatim, but you're never going to drill down into the thing that you're hearing. So you have to like listen. So really feel that curiosity that I'm talking about and try to and wonder why. Like, why is that? So every time you ask a question and they give you an answer that's not the same as every answer you heard, perhaps, then you have to drill into that question again and again and again. Like the 3 whys, you've ever always heard that, keep drilling down. Just keep going down. I think it's actually the 5 whys, but don't go less than 3, right? Try to really understand why something's happening, how it works, what happens when they do it right, what happens when things go wrong. So don't use your questions that AI brings you as the be all and end all of the questions that you ask. You should most definitely be doing these interviews with an AI partner. So there are dozens, and I mean jillions perhaps, of recording devices that are going to record your meeting, including the video. Typically, you're going to probably want to be on Zoom or something like that. And it's going to capture the transcript, and it's going to capture the different speakers, you and them. And so Fireflies is a great one. Otter, Fathom is very popular. Avoma is the one that I use a lot. I often actually use more than one because the AI portion captures it differently, even though the transcript is always going to be the same. So there's a great deal of these, and make sure you choose one or practice with a couple to understand, which one works best for you. But make sure that they're on all of your meetings. So you have to talk to them, record them, and now is when you're going to bring in your AI assistant. So your AI assistant is going to be your ChatGPTs or your name, whichever one is your favorite. It doesn't really matter, because what you're going to do now is give it a prompt, something like, analyze these transcripts and give me, the top challenges facing this persona. You can ask it, even if you like, to be to just provide you like give me the ideal customer profile. The challenge with that is you're going to be missing out on what you already know, right? So you need to prompt it with a little bit more details of what you already know about them, what you heard in all of the interviews you did, and the transcripts that you have. So you really need to combine all of this material into your prompt. And the prompt should end up being something that says, use the language of the customer. Use bring out the hopes and dreams of the prospective customer while making them aware of how our product and solution can solve their challenges and frustrations. So if you're using any of the premium generative AI platforms, you should be able to do things like upload, right? So you're going to want to have a tool that allows you to do uploads, because this is when you can combine your information, like your product materials, that talk about your features and benefits and whatnot, and stick that together with the hopes and dreams and fears and nightmares of your prospective customers. You can use this in an iterative fashion. So the companion piece for this presentation will be available to you. And you're going to want to dig into some of the specific prompts that you can use there, where you want to make sure that you are directing it in such a way that it's not just free form, right? The AI will make stuff up, even if you've provided some training materials, and it will emphasize things that maybe from the conversations that they said, but it wasn't a big deal. So you still need to use your human kind of portion of the program to sanitize what the AI is producing for you in terms of messaging. I would typically ask it to give me my ideal customer profile, give me my target persona or personas, give me a 2-sentence and 3-sentence and 5-sentence summary of what my product does for those personas. And then you can go deeper into the materials that you really probably need, which might include things like website copies, sales emails, marketing brochures, whatnot. So you can do that all kind of later down the line, but there's a very important human step in between. And that is actually getting the messaging that your AI has created and that you have edited in front of people again. Look at that. There's really still people involved. You cannot do this by yourself. And the real reason for that is that you might have missed the mark, right? I would suggest that you take the messaging that you have created using your AI partner and put it back in front of the customers that you spoke to. Like, those would be the first people that I would go back to and just say, does this sound like you? Does this feel like you? Can you see yourself in this message? Does it make sense to you? Does it make you feel like you want to take action? If you get resounding yeses, you are winning. If you don't, it's time to refine. And the great thing about AI is very, very quick to refine and just reiterate. And as long as your customers, like, you could use somebody, you don't have to use like real customers. You could use, your somebody you used to work with, your ex-boyfriend, your whatever, whoever it may be that kind of fits your target persona, to run that past them and make sure that you are in the in the sweet spot. So keep refining until you're getting resounding yeses from your ideal customers. And then you have to take it on the internal march. Don't forget this step. So this is actually one of the most challenging ones. I actually have a meeting this week to discuss this exact process. I'm at the step where I need to put it in front of the leadership team of the company I'm working with. And they have to agree on it, because the idea of creating this messaging is that you have a set of tools that everyone can use consistently. So once you've done this right, everyone needs to speak out of the same songbook. The reason for this is to avoid cognitive dissonance, right? So if your prospect gets something in a sales email, then they go to your website and they see something different, then they schedule a meeting to speak with sales and sales says something different, and then they buy your product and it does something different, that is cognitive dissonance. And it's actually going to really slow down that cycle of people buying more, telling their friends, and so forth. The way to avoid this is to make sure that everybody in your organization, in all of the functions that are customer facing or even building your product behind the scenes, are all saying the same thing. And that they really have that document that you're working on as a touchstone. That every time when they're trying to say, oh, this Gartner Capterra wants a 3-sentence description of our product, that they're going to your document and copying and pasting it, right? So that you're always saying the exact same thing from the very beginning, very first prospective customer interaction to the time when a customer leaves you. They should be getting a consistent message from you. So this process might send you back to the drawing board. You could come to that meeting to work it through with your constituents, your internal constituents, and they could say, that's not the target customer we want to go after. We don't want to go after third grade teachers. We want to go after IT managers at Fortune 500 companies. Whoopsie doodles. Like then you have to have that discussion, and if necessary, go all the way back to the drawing board. Because I'm telling you, you cannot do this whole thing without the buy-in of everybody on the team. And that can absolutely be the hardest part of the project, but it's worth it. It'll save you, it'll get you the result you're looking for. And it may be painful, and you probably might make that mistake once or twice or even 3 times before you really understand, like, hey, let me make sure that everybody knows what I'm doing first, and then go through the loop. Because then you're going to get messages like the one that I got, which is like the wow. You're looking for the wow. You're really looking for somebody to be like, OMFG, you freaking nailed it. That is incredible. Nailed it. And if you can go to your leadership team after you've done the round where you're talking to your prospective customers, where they all said, yes, OMG, that is exactly what was in my heart, then they're going to buy into it, right? But it's because you've done the research. This is not the kind of thing that it's not perfunctory, right? If I may use a high level word there. You're not doing it just to do it. You're doing it to make that human connection. And an example might be the words that the customer uses to describe your product. True story. I had a company that I worked with, which was a industrial hardware company. Worked with a number of years ago, and the word that they use on their website and their collateral, all their materials that they used to describe their very own product was not the word that their customers used to describe that product category even. I only found that out by talking to customers, and by lucky happenstance for me, my husband worked in the industry that used these industrial tools. And so I asked him, and he's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And so then that led me to be curious to say, wait a minute, that's not the word that this customer uses to describe their product. That's not the word you use. And he's like, gosh, no, we use this whole other word. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I ran around and talked to a bunch of their customers and prospective customers. And sure enough, we literally changed the words that they used to describe their product, and their SEO rankings went way up. Their traffic went way up. They had more engagement with customers. It can be that simple, and you could be missing it because you might be just relying on the echo chamber that is your internal organization. You got to get out and talk to people. AI can be your partner. They can help you make this faster, easier, stronger, but you cannot do the job without talking to people. If you, for whatever reason, feel uncomfortable with these conversations, start with a friend. So you can take the questions that AI gives you that you're going to do your interview with, and do it with your best friend or your spouse or your children. It doesn't matter how you practice getting comfortable asking more questions. But once you start to hear that response and people are engaging with you in a really human way, and you're connecting with them about trying to solve the problem that they want to solve, you're going to really start to get the passion. You're going to start to hear them really explore what they're looking to do and use the words that is coming to their mind just naturally, right? And those are the words that are going to connect with them later down the line. We all have a habit when we're doing business things of being businessy and using businessy words. Look at me, I'm wearing a freaking jacket. Like, I don't wear a jacket, right? I don't. But this is because we're meeting the need of a particular audience. I knew everybody else in the panelists were going to be wearing jackets and looking professional, so I did too. But if you start to let your guard down and really be with your potential customers and meet them where they are, your message is going to connect with them in a way that is not that your competitors cannot match. And so use your AI as a tool to help you get there, to do more and faster, and to bring the materials from disparate sources, i.e. your 10 or 12 or 15 interview transcripts together. It just saves you the heavy lifting. But as I mentioned, like that's how I did it before, just by hand, and got similar results, just not in a 2-hour time frame. It might take me a week or 2 weeks to do work that now can take me 2 hours. And so I really I recommend that you don't forget the human component of this program, right? So you can't get away without talking to people. It is the only way to connect with a human is by connecting with humans. And while you can take shortcuts and you can compress timelines, you cannot substitute what it means to connect with other people. And I think what you'll find is you will start to really enjoy it. So, I think some of the things that people might wonder is whether or not you can outsource this. And you can't. You have to do them. You have to do them yourself, because only then will you be able to separate in that what the AI returns from what you heard and what you believe. I want to end with that word belief. When I was most successful in my career in terms of building an entire market, I built a business unit in a company that in a market that they previously hadn't served. And the way that I was able to do it was using this exact process, pre-AI, I might add, but by the conviction, the belief that I had in what the customers wanted and needed, because I had talked to them. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Go out, and if you need practice, I know some of you younger folks don't do this that much in person. Practice and you'll get better. And like I said, it'll get more fun. You'll start to really enjoy it. It's almost a game when you can like get people to engage with you. I hope you have a lot of great success. I hope you get some messaging that connects. You can go to up.marketingelevator.com/giveaway. And you can get a companion piece that has some AI prompts that will help you do this, and some tips on how to edit what the outcomes that you get. It's been really great to be here today. I'm so excited about the human to human connection. I love humans myself. So have a great day, and thanks so much.
Thank you for joining us in today's forward-thinking session of human connection done right. As we transition to our next expert speaker, remember that together we are redefining the future. To stay engaged and informed, visit revenue-bydesign.com, where together we will be deliberate, be intentional, and be successful.